Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to understand that how we can use Business Central telemetry with our application Insight and with the help of Power Automate how we can connect your application Insight with the given connectors and we can keep ourselves updated by in my case getting an email notification, or it could be a different aspect as well, right? And yeah, it's not a very newer concept. Telemetry was being there with the Business Center from a long time, but yet I still see a lot of areas where customers are demanding some very basic alerts from the system, but they're not getting it from partners because of I'll say lack of idea or maybe lack of information, to be honest, that what standard telemetries which are emitted from Business Central can do or perform. Okay, so yeah, let's start. And before I do that, let's just do a very quick introduction about myself. So my name is Rishabh Shukla. I'm working as a managing consultant with Oli Technologies, and yeah, that's my YouTube channel. It's with my name only. So you guys have been providing feedback on it on the videos. So yeah, keep doing that. And that's my blog. So typically, whatever video I put on my channel, I also put it on my online blog. So yeah, feel free to follow or subscribe there and provide feedback. All right. So first, let me show you what I wanted to do and what I mean, and then probably we can see how I did that. Okay. So let's say I'm working in an organization where I do get a mail on a weekly basis. And this mail has information about how my database or my tenant is performing. When I say tenant, for this case, it's going to be only for Business Central. So I would like to see a certain insight where I get a count of what objects and how many times they have crossed the threshold amount of time while performing any activity. And by threshold, this could be an AL method or it could be a SQL query. Okay. So one could say that I also would like to see what query was there performing it. So yeah, that could be one of the things as well, but let's keep it summarized for now. And I would like to see the application name and it has a event ID. So I'll give you a detailed information about what it does in later part of this video. But for now, let's go with the very summarized view. So yeah, and how many times it has crossed that threshold? That's the count. Okay. Simple way, if it's a AL method, then you will get the object type, object name with the function as well, which is doing that. Okay. So in my case, I've just created a company out of Cronus and I run the evaluation package using the rapid start and configuration. So you can see a lot of tables with that too, and mostly assisted setups and all. Okay. Now, that could be one detail information. I might also like to see what that where are we on the document creation or posting. So I can see a pie chart, or I would like to see any other information. Again, don't go with the use case, just go with the idea that we are doing here. So in my case, I would like to see um, information of my document insights. So in this case, it says that from past 7 days, 41% was occupied pretty much by the sales document. And like I said, I have also created this company out of Rapid Start. So mostly document insights were created out of Rapid Start package itself, right? Um, and then we can see for purchase document as well. So I just posted few of them manually after the company was created just to create a data for this demo. So that could be one of the things. Okay, so one could ask you that can you give me a brief overview that how many purchase documents are getting posted in a certain amount of time period. So yeah, that could be your documented site. You can give information like this to them, and they can basically use it for planning themselves. Or one can also ask me that my system was running a bit slow today. So you can go through the logs, through the insights, and then you can inform them that hey, Rapid Start was running and it was basically choking off the resources which were needed to post a purchase or sales document. then so that could be the major culprit that why your system was slow today. Again, long running transaction. There could be a case that I have multiple vendors with me, and I would like to see the long running transaction by the app IDs or by the app names so that I can chase the vendors right away, or I can specifically fix those apps where it is causing the latency in the transactions. So in my case, again, like I said, it was mostly rapid start. So mostly it was base application, and then a certain amount of tax transactions has been posted as well in bulk. So tax engine was also in them. For the sake of data, I've also created and run some batch reports. So you can also see an analytics, and this could be very interesting, that usually on a month-end activity or on a weekly basis, you do like to run your adjust cost report, right? Or maybe approval, not a monthly or weekly, or maybe it's a daily practice, but yeah, you could analyze that what was the quantum of batch reports I've executed. And I'll show you that how you can see those reports, whether they are successful or failure reports as well. So, but at least you can see the batch report or the quantum of reports which have been executed in the system, so that you can understand uh, the duration, their usage, their time, where they're mostly needed. Again, the whole idea is to analyze, to get insights from your system, right? So, in a summary, things like that, I'm not saying they are not available by other applications. They are, right? There are several other applications which can give you insights like that, right? But um, with the help of telemetry and as well as application insight, and with Power Automate, I will show you that how I've created all this information with almost, let's say, zero code for now. Okay, and these telemetry signals which I am using in this example, they're all standard. I haven't done any custom telemetry signal emission to my application inside. Okay, so let's see how I did that. So to begin with, let me close all this. You need to have a Azure subscription. So you have to have a login and a subscription on portal.azure.com. It's a bare minimum need, so you have to have this. And if you don't have this, I'll say just pause the video, go have the subscription, and then come back and watch it again. Okay. So once you are on Azure services or your dashboard screen, go to create resource and then go for application insight. There you go. Then you say create. Put some basic values, don't have to be very fancy one. Just put some test values, create new, give it a name or something like that, and just keep everything else default. You don't have to do anything else for this. Just do review and create. Now, once you do that, you will see on your home screen that you have a resource available here. In my case, I've created a application inside with BC19 telemetry. So you can see that it has a type of application insight. And if I click here, so that's basically the dashboard of my application inside. It gives you a lot of information. Okay, we'll see and understand that what it does and how it does and what performance it gives you. Okay, but for now, let's keep it very specifically to Business Central in the example that I have shown you. Okay, so that you can understand the bare minimum that you can do with the customers. You can explore the system all the time, right? But at least if you have the basic idea, you will go and build the base for performing anything further on that. So let's see what we have for now, and then we'll proceed further. So I have a Business Central database. I have a application insight resource on my portal.azure.com. Okay, so far so good. Now, uh, these two systems are working remotely and they're not connected to each other. Okay, so it could be a case that you have your Azure subscription on your tenant. Okay. So let's say me working with Oli Technologies, I have a tenant working with Oli Technologies, but I would like to have telemetry information from any other customer of mine who's using my extension. Okay. So that could be also another case. So my application inside is working on a remote location isolated from that Business Central environment, and their Business Central goes vice versa. They're also working on isolation as compared to my Business Central environment. Sorry, App Insight. Okay. Now, to connect or to communicate between these two systems, we use Business Central basically sends certain signals. Okay, and those signals are called telemetry. Okay, so that's what telemetry is all about. Okay, and if you go through some fancy Hollywood example or movies, people close their eyes, put their hands on their minds, and they talk to other people telepathically, right? So in a very not straightforward or a very simple way, that's pretty typically what telemetry is all about. Okay, again, sorry, it was a bad example, but yeah, in a conceptual way, you will understand. So, how do we do that? You go to your Business Central environment, go to settings, then go to advanced settings. No, sorry, admin center. So I have this window open here. So you'll see there a list of environment. You have to connect your telemetry specifically to each environment every time that you would like to. In my case, I'll go with production. So when I click on that environment name, it will give me a placeholder called application insight connection string. Okay, it was just application insight key, but now they have basically modified the placeholder. Okay, so you will click on modify and it will give you certain information, blah, blah, blah. Just click on enable. Okay, and you have to get this connection string. How will you have this? Go to your resource again, and on the right side, you will see there is a parameter called connection string. Click on this copy button, go back to your admin center, paste it here, just save it. Before you save it, you have to make sure that you're doing it on off hours, or maybe users are not using the system, because it's going to restart eventually your service, okay, which is going to cause users to have a hang time, or maybe they're going to log off from their tenants as well. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, if you want to be very sure that the environment got restarted, you can do it yourself. Just go to sessions or and just click on restart environment. Okay, that could be another way, but if you just update the application inside key, it's going to do it for you. It's going to restart your service anyways. Okay, well, that's one thing. Now, in case you would like to connect your so now standard apps which are going to use these insights, okay, no problems to that. Now, in case you are working in your basically your app is deployed to any other customer which do not have this on which you don't have control to your admin center. Okay, in that case, what you can do is you have to go to your extension app, and in the app.json you have to pass a parameter with the application inside connection string. Just pass the same value here. Okay. Else, if you are working on a prior version, then I believe Business Central 19, then you can go with application inside key. Now, if you go back to your overview window, that's your application inside key. Okay, so you have to make your package accordingly, because you might not have control over everything that you're sending to your application inside, or you're sending to your app to someone. So as an ISV, there is a possibility that someone else is using your app, and they're not passing your application inside connection string as an instrument in their admin center. Okay, so in that case, you have to pass your connection string on the app.json. Okay, well, that's it. Now, your Business Central environment is basically connected to your Azure environment. I'm not taking examples of on-premise, how to connect that, but there's a configuration for passing this connection string in the service setup. But yeah, feel free to drop off questions in the comment section if you have any regarding the on-prem. But I really prefer online as a future, so I'm just keeping my example with that. Okay, so now your tenant is connected. Okay. Now, if you perform any actions to your tenant, it is going to send signals to this application inside. Now, let's make few things very clear. If you go to logs, and you will see a welcome window with certain queries and time. Just for now, let's keep it very simple. Okay. I will say new query, and on the left side, you will see the list of tables. typically whatever signals were sent from the telemetry are in the traces table. Okay, and usually if you are aware with KQL, then this should be very easier for you. But if you're aware of SQL as well, KQL is not that difficult. Okay, so typically to see the data of that any table, you do select asterisk from the table name. In KQL, you do only table name. So in my case, table name is traces. Let's see. I do run, and it will give me some data. Okay. Now I can pass a time range. In my case, it's 24 hours. Let's change it to 7 hours because my company doesn't have too much of data on it. Okay, simple, right? You have all this information. So now you will have a basic idea, right? By seeing this data, that every time my system is doing something, there are signals which are emitted to, my application inside. Okay. Now let's try to uh, put up some filters and condition on the system so that we'll see how it performs. So we'll say project because I don't want to see all the information. I'll say message and item type. What else? I might use custom dimension. So what does this do? It's going to basically, trim down some of the column names, and by project you are basically saying select column name 1, column name 2, column name 3 from table names. In this case, that's how you do that in KQL. Okay. Now, once that is done, you might want to put a where clause. Okay. So how do you do that? You will say where. Let's say. mm, let's say I want to see all the transaction related to job queues, right? So I'll say where message contains job queue. Now, guys, needless to say, because these are very obvious things. If I say contains, it means if that character or that phrase is there in the string, or that string is in the phrase. Either ways, okay. If I want to do an absolute comparison, then I will go with double equal to. Okay. All right. So let's go with contain for now and run. Super. Now, if I see here, every record has a expand and collapse thing here, right? So let's see what do we have. So it basically shows a summary view of the record. So it says message has this value, item type has this value. Now here what makes it telemetry very interesting. Okay, it has custom dimensions. So every record that you see with telemetry or you see with traces, it has custom dimensions. Now, custom dimension is a field. Let's consider a very simple example. It's a field which contains JSON as the value. Okay. Now, if you are familiar with JSON, you will see that JSON usually has a property and then it has a token value, right? So in our case, you can see the detailing of this. So it says on which tenant, which category, what else? What was the AL job queue ID? Now, these are the critical information we typically don't have outside our system by using some advanced tooling, right? So yeah, and what else? Extension name, okay, that is also important. Base application, and then all right. So I would like to see the telemetry result where object type is code unit. Okay. Now keep in mind, this al object type, this information is only available in the custom dimension section. Okay. So let's see, how will I do that? Mm, so first things first, I don't want custom dimension now. I will say object type equals, let's say toString. It will open the parenthesis for me. And I'll say custom dimensions dot al object type. Okay. Now let's also keep object name in place as well, because it doesn't make any sense because if you don't have this, right? Let's say run Oops. Okay. Now I would like to do a where clause as well. I'll say object type contains code unit. There you go. Yeah. So that is this, right? Now I have all these traces in place. So that's good, right? We have all this information. Okay. So let's try to understand how do I have this column because there's a lot of information. How will I get this? So if I go to documentation provided by Microsoft, just go with this monitoring and analyzing telemetry documentation, you will see almost every information that I'm talking about here. Okay. And the thing that you have to consider, let's say you want to do a field monitoring telemetry. Okay. So to do that, you have to go through these dimensions. And at that point when I was creating my video, I was also referring to an event ID. So that's what event ID is all about. Okay. Every custom event or every custom dimension that you see in traces is basically coming from this table. Okay, so they're having a very strong documentation for this, which is there by Microsoft. And yeah, it's very nicely articulated and has a lot of information. And basically, I've created my video by using this documentation itself. Okay, so so now that's one thing. So like in my example, like I was saying, some of the transaction was crossing the threshold limit. So how did I do that? I see this long running query telemetry, and if I scroll down, it was showing me these dimensions. Okay, and you have noticed that it has that object type and name in my email, and that's the reason why I have all this. Okay, so I'll run certain examples for you. Okay, let's see what else can we do with this. So before that, let's try to see how we can use KQL as well before going to that site. So now you will notice that when I use project, okay, my next statement, if I try to use where clause with let's say any other particular column. So let's say I want to use custom dimension. I won't be able to do that. Okay. But if I try to run the same statement after traces line, so if I say where custom dimension. So now I can see custom dimension is there available with on IntelliSense. Why is that? Because every time when you project a line with the KQL, it basically creates a view. And on the next line, you can only use the columns which are created by the project statement or by the summarize statement. Okay, so you won't be able to use direct references of traces in the pipes symbol of the project line. Okay, so that's very important. Let's do undo. Mm, So I'll say where object type is not equal to code unit. Let's see what we have here. Hmm, that is interesting. Why do I have this? Never mind. I'll say not equal to blank. Okay. Now I might need some other things as well. So these are some basic things that you wanted to do. There are other things as well that it does, like ordering, joining with any other table, so in our case, I'll say summarize count by um, al object name. In my case, it was object name, comma, my message. Let's say we forget message for now. Okay, and then yeah, that should be it. Let's see what happens now. So if I run this, it says, yeah, these are the traces. Mostly I have against telemetry subscribers. I'll walk you through this code unit. That's also a very important code unit provided by Microsoft. And yeah, since the tenant was created out of this configuration package, you will see some hit from there as well. Now, uh, for a business user or for an MIS or a report, you might want to get a chart as well for this. So I'll say render. I would like to see a pie chart. If I say run, there you go. And now you can see here, right? Exactly what information I was giving over there. So let's see. I'll go with report. There you go. Right? So these are certain information that you can just very quickly say, hey, that's the information. Why is it taking so much time? You can run queries like this, okay? And if someone says running slow from last 30 minutes, you can just put a filter on 30 minutes, run this query, and just it will give you hands on that why it is taking too much time or what performance are going on with the system, right? And if you wanted to see your results based on a grouping, it's very simple with KQL, right? So you will go here and let's just remove this summarize line and this render line as well. So if I say run, okay, mm, go with 7 days. Yeah. Now let's say I would like to group it based on my object type. So I'll select this object type column. I'll drag it to this place right here. So it says object type report. Um, that's a very poor thing that I've only filtered on report. Let's try to do it again. Okay, so what do I have now? I'll put it up here. So object type this. Um, blank. Okay. So if I do a run now, and I will put it up here. Yeah, object type code unit. It's mostly code unit. I don't know why. All right, not important. Okay, so that's one of the things that you can do by KQL, right? And you've noticed that how easier was it when I just run it by for some specific values, right? So get some easy reports very quickly. Okay, and again, not that these examples are not available online. There are a lot of blogs and videos and everything posted online for having all this information. Okay. So yeah, that could be one of the scenario. That's how what basic operation you can do with the KQL. Okay. Now I have prepared certain examples of mine, and that's basically the same example I was showing you in my example as well in my email as well. So let's say the first information that I was telling you on my email, the traces that you were getting in my uh, of uh, of the threshold crossing transaction, right? So I'll go here, remove this. If I say run, I'll get all this information, right? Now, it's very important to understand the meaning of event ID as well. So every trace that you send from your Business Central telemetry, it has an event ID, okay? So if I go here, I copy this and I search this on my search of documentation. It's very simple. They don't have specifically any table for this. I don't know why, but yeah. Okay. Mm, event ID in Business Central telemetry. Okay, let's see if we get something out of this. Yeah, there you go. So they have a very nicely written blog, not blog, documentation for this. If I search for this, it will say it's a performance area of telemetry. It's for transaction crossing the threshold by with the AL method. Okay, so every time you see any event ID in your telemetry signal, that's how you're going to backtrack it. And every event ID basically means something. You don't have to bother about what information or how do we have this on my query, because the message that you have here is basically showing you the same information. Okay, so don't worry about how do you get the value of this event ID. Okay, that's how it is doing this. Okay, so if I try to see this information using a chart, so now I can see the log which are basically crossing the threshold limit are basic by their app names, right? You can change the formatting of chart from here. Okay, so you can change the formatting, you can change the type of chart, or and every other information. Okay, so let's say stacked column. I'm not too good with all these things. Yeah, unstacked columns, right? So these are certain things that you can do with this. Let's take another example, right? Um, I might wanted to know that how many processing only reports I was running. Okay, so for that I still use the traces table, and if I run this, it will give me this. Now, if I say, let's say if I create a chart of the out of this, and there was a way of putting up a different type of chart. I don't know from where I did that. Hmm, I don't know. Somehow I basically did. Let's try this. Render, yeah, pie chart. I think that's how I did that. There you go. Okay, so it looks much nicer as compared to what we see on email. Yeah, because it has a certain amount of information with it, right? And so how did I do that? Again, guys, it's very important. So in the traces, we have a custom dimension, and with that custom dimension, I have a value there which is called reporting engine. And of course, I have al object type and object name. So I put up a filter where al object type is report, and the reporting engine says processing only. If I go to RDLC and I do this, so I run post inventory value details. Apparently, that report is basically giving you the preview. So yeah, you won't be able to see that output like this. So if I just remove this filter, I might get some information which could be more useful. So yeah, there you see. So it says post inventory value to GL is also some sort of usage, and mostly it's delegate approval request. Yeah, I did have a workflow in my system configured for this. Um, so yeah, I did have a workflow enabled here. Um, yeah, that's why we have delegate approval telemetry signal. Okay, okay, we're good. All right, so this could be another example. Now, another thing could be that I would like to see the traces of the documents which has been created or posted, right? So I'll say this. I'll do a run. Uh, what's wrong there? Yeah, I've given messages twice. Okay, so if I see this on a chart, I can see this information here as well. So it says upgrade this, that. Um, what could be the next example? If I see here on the results, it says the document type, sorry, that sales document is posted, purchase document is posted. Some of them could be upgrades, so I don't need this. So I will say where and event ID is not equal to this. Let's try to run this. Hmm. Yeah, it has a lot of information for this, so we don't typically need this. But yeah, in a real life example, you might not get all this because, like I said, it was a environment created of a configuration package, right? Okay, so there are a few more interesting traces that you would like to see. One of them could be the browser timings, right? Uh, and there was this one more thing that I would like to present to you guys before I jump on to the next one, browser timing. So while running this, you might wanted to put up some case statement, right? So let's say, like in this case, right? You would like to see um, message with the, case statement. Okay, so you will say case message contains sales, then or I'll just copy the case statement example from here. I should have it on my document inside. Let me just copy that example here. Okay, so let me explain you this only so that you will get the idea what I'm trying to explain here. So I've used a case statement and I've said, if you see from here to here, it says case of message. If message contains sales, then it should be a sales document. And if the message contains purchase, it's a purchase document. Else, it's a rapid start. So why did I do that? Because earlier you can see that my transactions were basically coming from upgrade tag, blah, 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 and all those things. So, and I know that they're basically from my rapid start. Okay, so that's how I basically change some values in the query. Okay, and that's how you can also manipulate data in the of the query by just using certain values. Okay, all right. Let's see, browser timing. That's also very interesting. Uh, log to verify. That gives you information, yeah, which might be useful for you. Again, gives you the object name, extension name, and be very careful about this. You need to have enough information. You will get enough amount of information from the custom dimension field value. Okay, so it will give you the company name, which is very much needed, environment name. Again, someone might have been connected that to the sandbox, right? You don't want that telemetry inside with you. Page type, page mode. Again, very important. What they were only viewing data, they were also modifying the data. Viewing is not that bad. Well, they can view it, right? They're modifying it as well. Yeah, you might want to do have a look at this. Okay. Uh, Now, apart from that, browser timing, I would also like to see my page views. Okay. If you ask me, it's not that very uh, important, but yeah, sometime it happens that you would like to understand that if someone is even using that sort of page or not, or someone is using that kind of information or not, or typically how much time is my role center taking to load if it is coming to into the bucket. So you can see here it says performance role center, it's coming to 1 to 3 second bucket, and that's where performance things comes into picture. Okay, sometimes your role center takes a lot of time in getting loaded. That might be because you might have using some flow fields, some fact boxes on it, which was you know uh, locking up your system's performance. So let's say sales order, the very classic examples, right? 1 to 3 seconds. That's a good candidate, right? You open sales order, it's taking 1 to 3 seconds of time. Not too bad, and we can live with that, right? So you can put a filter, make it very constructive for your usage, and then you can basically, pin down certain areas where you want to utilize it. Okay, that's enough about telemetry logs. Now let's see how you can keep yourself updated and how I use it with the Power Automate. It's very simple example. You can use any other tool apart from Power Automate. That's actually over the, you can say, past few months, I'm quite a fan with this great piece of technology, Power Automate. So I'm almost using it with every example I can. Okay. Um, So before I do that, I would like to walk you through with how you can send your custom telemetry signal. It's not that difficult, and I'll not show any demo for this, but yeah, I'll just show you the example of doing that. Okay, so you do a session, and then under session you will have a log message method. It's a given method. First thing that you have to pass with this is the event ID. So event ID, it could be your custom event ID, like the one we have in the system, RT-0001. That's your custom event ID. Okay, that's the message of your signal. And then the verbosity, it could be normal, critical, what else? Yeah, error, verbose or warning. I'll just go with critical for now. Okay, data classification, very important. If the data classification is not system metadata, that it means that App Insight is not going to store that telemetry with them, or system is not going to emit the signal of that telemetry to your App Insight. Why? Because you might be sending user-specific data to the system, and Microsoft is very particular with that with the policy where whenever a customer is or might be, stopping usage of their Business Central tenant, they do not want any data of this classification, which is not supposed to be with them. Okay, so any information that you are sending it to the telemetry has to be to the app inside, has to be in system metadata. If it is of any other type, then the app inside won't be able to capture that information. Okay, again, very important. And then we have this telemetry scope. If you say all, it's going to be basically running for all the app inside mechanism, which is the M signal is going to be sent to all application inside. If you do it extension publisher, then it will go to only and only the publisher of this extension where you have defined this application inside connection string. Okay. Oh, again, a very important property. Now then goes to dimension. Now that's basically what we have in our JSON of custom dimension. Okay. So you take a dictionary variable for key value stored as text and text, and just add the value in, like if I take here, let's put custom dimensions for now. Okay. Right. So if you do here custom dimensions, that's basically your key value store. First text and the value, then again key, then value, then key, then value. Okay, that's how you're going to get this information. Okay, and every single signal that you're going to send with your custom events is going to be part of this custom event table. Okay, you won't be able to get that in traces. Okay, it also does for a few other things as well, like performance counter and everything. I'll save it for the next topic. Let's go with very basic, guys. I know telemetry is very important when it comes to performance monitoring, but I'll say just go with very basic for now. Performance can be a challenge that you can monitor on a very high level, and it's a very big chapter when it comes to Business Central or any other application. So I'll say start telemetry with basic operation. We'll come back to this topic again. Okay. As part of my example, there is a code unit in system which might help you in getting idea of standard telemetry events. So I'll say subscriber code unit. What happened? I don't have symbols or what? Okay. Yeah, I might not have symbols with me. Okay, let me see if I can tell you about that from So there's a code unit called Telemetry Subscriber, which basically takes care of all the subscription that has been passed to your system. Apparently, my VS Code doesn't have symbol downloaded with me, but yeah, just browse through that code unit, Telemetry Subscriber. You'll get the idea what I'm saying. Okay, now let's come back to the flow. How I managed to run this flow and how I managed to give you this output. So in my Power Automate, I created a schedule flow and I say it should run once a month. Maybe you can run it every week. Okay, so you need to have a connector and to create a connector, and that's very important. I think you guys should know. You will say add new connection, and in connection name, you go to your telemetry logs, scroll down, and you will see at some point something with API. Yeah, API access. Very important. And this is where I struggle a lot. Okay, so be very, very careful with this. So that's your application name given. You don't have to do anything for that. Okay, just pass it here. Then comes your application ID. That will be your application ID. Okay. Then it will ask for an application key. It's very simple. Just do create key, give it a name, and give it some permission. Read, write, blah blah blah, and there you go. Once you have generated your key, just copy it somewhere. It's like the secret key. You won't be able to use it again. And pass that key here, and then do create. Okay. So once you do that, you should be able to access the same information that you were doing earlier. Now, if you select add an action, you should be able to see application insight. Now with the application insight, you have few actions with you. So one of them is run analytics query, and then you can say visualize analytics. So I've used visualize, but let's explore this as well. So you pass the query here, and it will give you an output. Okay. Now in my case, I have utilized visualize because I just wanted to go with the no code, low code policy. Okay, so I say I just copied that query that I was showing you on KQL. Okay, and if I scroll down, it gives me an output with all these different types. So it could be a pie chart, it could be a HTML table, and that's my time range that you was seeing in your KQL screen as well, right? Okay, so yeah, that's how I did that. So I just passed all these queries and different types of charts and different queries. So once I have all this, in one of the cases where I was taking that as an HTML, I decoded that content of HTML because it basically gives you a base64 output. Okay, you have to convert it into a format that you want to. So only HTML is the one that I want to embed in my email. Okay, so I've converted into basically a variable. Okay, so I said decode base64 output, blah blah blah. And then, yeah, time for sending an email. I just kept an HTML body, and then I have used that table variable that I've used here. And again, just to be very clear, the output of this table is coming from the output of this query. Okay, so if I scroll down now, you can see here, it gives you all the output as an attachment. So you can see attachment content, page view inside. Page view inside is this, document inside is this, right? So you can basically use them as an attachment in your email. And if I do a test manually, I run this, I run the flow. Let's see. I hope it works again. So 3 queries are done. Let's see what else. HTML is done. So query execution is done. HTML conversion. Yeah, mail is also done. So if I now go to my email, I have a new email which gives me the same output, right? Okay, so yeah, so that's how you can do all these activities, guys. And again, you have noticed that I've used almost just to show you how the custom events or how the placeholders are defined in application.json. Else, there was no usage of VS Code. I've not written any code for this, right? When I say not written any code, it means I've done something on Power Automate, but it's basically on a UI, right? And no custom telemetry signals, right? So these are some kind of views that you can basically show to your customers, and it's very important to pitch them with sales as well, because when there is a uh, huge database with the longer amount of volume of transactions, these are some of the things that they would definitely like to see with their database, that how the database is performing and what are the insights that you can give them as a business, not only as a performance. And that's where I always take telemetry to a different use want to use telemetry in a different scenario. I'm not only binded to have telemetry with my performance scenarios, but also with it should be giving me insights about my business, how it is running, number of sales order posted, uh, you know, uh, or maybe approvals done in a day. These kind of transactions can be very easily monitored with telemetry. Okay. So you don't have to create any custom reports, don't have to create any new enhanced reports or Power BI or anything. I mean, you can use the output of Insight to build some, but you can do it by email as well, right? So yeah, that's pretty much, guys. And feel free to put up any questions if you have any. And yeah, thank you for watching the video. Have a good day.